45 years ago at this time, Terry Fox was only a few days into what would become his iconic Marathon of Hope. The marathon began in St. John's, Newfoundland on April 12, 1980. On this week of that year, he was still working his way through Newfoundland and Labrador. On April 21st, Fox would run through the town of Gambell, Newfoundland, before making his way to Badger. While Fox's run began in St. John's to very little fanfare, by the time he reached Gambell, spectators had started to gather to watch. Taking a look at some archive footage on this Throwback Thursday, the event would explode with media, politicians, celebrities, and supporters following him all the way to Thunder Bay, where the Marathon of Hope was forced to end in September of 1980 when his cancer spread to his lungs. Fox passed away the following June.
Under pressure.
To celebrate the 45th anniversary, the Terry Fox Foundation is celebrating with several campaigns, including the release of this short film called Finish It. What can we learn from Terry Fox's legacy, and how can we celebrate this milestone anniversary? Here to tell us more is Dr. Rebecca Auer. She is a cancer physician and researcher here in Ottawa. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for inviting me.
You know, as I'm reading the history and legacy of Terry Fox, I'm starting to get chills and goosebumps. You know, we've been learning about him since as long as I can remember as a young child. It predates my birth at 1980, come to a full stop. But how are you feeling as you work in the field and we've reached this milestone and knowing the advances that we've made?
Yeah, I mean, what we understand now about cancer compared to what we understood 45 years ago is completely different. It's like an exponential change. And I think Terry Fox, you know, as such a young man, he had vision and courage,
yes,
and then this incredible perseverance, and that led an entire country to come behind him with hope.
Certainly.
So I think that story is still as powerful today as it was then. And over the last 45 years, we've really come to understand that cancer, because of the very differences inside the cells themselves, the
Correct.
molecular mechanisms, the genetic mechanisms.
The different forms of cancer.
Yeah, we understand it's like there's a code inside and we're cracking that code. And so we now know cancer's not one disease. It's like 100,000 or probably 1 million different diseases. And as my mentor and longtime Terry Fox researcher, John Bell, who many of us know is an incredible researcher in the city, he says, it's no longer a matter of if we cure cancer, it's when and which ones will succumb first.
Definitely. And you know, we all know about the Ottawa Regional Cancer Foundation, the Terry Fox Foundation. And you know, when we discuss cancer, we always say, no one's left untouched by it. And I understand that it's hit closer to home for you recently as well. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with a rare cancer called bile duct cancer. And quite honestly, it's a very tough cancer to cure. And at first we had a lot of despair and didn't feel a lot of hope for his prognosis. But I'm so passionate about the research field in cancer, and it didn't take me long to realize that there was a lot of hope in the research space. And so my husband's, you know, thanks to incredible care at the Ottawa Hospital, he's been on experimental therapies, he's been able to do a clinical trial, and is really thriving and doing well 3 years later. And so I truly believe that research is the way forward, not just in cancer, but in all diseases. But in cancer, it is so obvious that research that we do today, it actually helps patients today.
Right.
And my husband's an example of that.
Oh my goodness, that's so hopeful. You know,
Thank you.
that's so inspirational. I thank you for sharing that with us, because you're working with it professionally, you're dealing with it now personally. And, you know, with the Terry Fox Foundation and it marking 45 years, I get the sense that from a communal aspect or volunteerism, you're also heavily involved. So what are you up to lately?
Well, my family's been running the Terry Fox Run for over a decade.
Yeah.
My kids have participated at, you know, my youngest since he was in the stroller, and we pushed him through the run. It means a lot to us as a family and as a community. And like I said, the story, I think, still really resonates with Canadians. It's a story about a young man who had a vision. The night before he actually had his amputation was when he decided he would run across the country. And we think about the miles that he ran with all the fans around them, but you kind of alluded to it that, like, he ran almost halfway across the country in training miles, all by himself, usually before dawn, sometimes cold, sometimes rainy,
Yeah.
a lot of pain. That is a story of determination. And
Yeah,
passion.
he's a hero for many people, an inspiration. And as we mentioned, the Terry Fox Foundation released that video saying finish it. We want to help complete that journey. But part of that is also a collab with a very popular brand. I'll let you dish the details on that one as well.
Yeah, so I understand for the 45th, Terry Fox has partnered with Adidas, and of course, everyone remembers Terry Fox's iconic Adidas
That's right.
sneakers. So they have launched a new line, and I understand it's designed by Ryan Reynolds, and this is the Finish It campaign, so I'm excited
Awesome.
to show it off.
And we have some models coming out as
Yeah.
well. All right, so it's not just the long sleeve shirt that you're wearing. You've
Yeah.
got the hoodie. There we go, represent, finish it. I love it. That
Yeah.
second eye is a silhouette of Terry Fox. We're taking a look at the back. This is some beautiful merchandise.
Yeah, these are my three gorgeous boys, and you'll see them on the Terry Fox run in September.
Amazing. It's all in the family. Any final thoughts before we let you and your family go?
I think there's a lot of hope in cancer research. So for all those people and their families who are affected by a diagnosis that's so devastating, just remember there is still a lot of hope.
Well, thank you so much for the work you're doing. I know it's
you.
been phenomenal. We actually know someone who you've worked on, and it's in our Bell Media family, who gives you a lot of praise. So thank you so much again.
Thank you, Steph.
Definitely. Let's take another look at that gear, that merchandise. All right.